Whoa, hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Juan Epstein.
Having a crazy allergy attack, man.
Well, why wouldn't you? You have to talk on the radio, so of course you'd have an allergy attack, son.
Weird.
This is the first ever time that Juan Epstein, Cipha Sounds of Rosenberg, have boarded a plane to go do an interview. And we are in Detroit, Michigan. Ladies and gentlemen, Eminem and Royce the 5'9" on Juan Epstein?
Hello.
How the hell are you guys?
What's up, fellas?
It's actually bad and evil.
Bad and evil.
Yeah.
Now, you know what? You just started the whole thing off awkwardly.
Who, him?
You.
Why?
Because you called him by the wrong name.
Oh, bad meets evil.
Yeah, I feel real uncomfortable right now and
Disrespected.
Yeah.
Disrespect. I knew that was the next thing.
You should leave, dog.
Disrespected.
You guys should just leave.
Yo, so
No, don't really leave him. Don't really leave.
no, he'll go. we had Royce. You've done Juan Epstein before.
Yes,
You've done it with
Slaughterhouse.
your loudmouth friends, Slaughterhouse,
My buddies.
which usually turns to Joe Budden talking for 50 minutes and Royce the 5'9" looking at his BlackBerry for about 47 minutes.
Look, man, this is the second time you've insulted me.
Oh.
iPhone.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is starting off really bad, man. I think we should
Just
leave
dead
the
it.
room
Just dead
maybe
it.
and then come back.
No. Let's get this ish cracking.
See, you've never listened to our Juan Epstein podcast. They all start off like
They
that.
all start-
Wait. What'd you just call me?
M?
Bad.
Sorry. You're bad?
Evil. No, he's evil. He's evil.
Thank you.
You're evil. So you're bad.
I'm bad, yes.
You're evil. Okay.
Bad and evil. Yo, can we start with the way beginning? Because I was thinking about this the other day. I don't really know the beginning of the Eminem Royce the 5'9" relationship. Where does this begin? All the way back. Where does Eminem and Royce start as a friendship?
I'll take that one. Back in, what was it, 97?
97, yeah.
97, I was at a Usher show at a place called the Palladium here in Detroit, and I was at the Usher show, and he was opening up for Usher, and I was I had like a little booth, and I was selling my tapes and CDs, the Slim Shady EP, before I had actually got signed with Dre, and he was on stage. He was opening up for Usher, and he did this rhyme that was like, I had never heard of Royce yet, so he did this rhyme like a cappella, and he said a couple of lines that was like really crazy. So his manager had come up to me, introduced himself or whatever, and me and Royce met shortly after the show that night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, met after the show, and then kind of linked up before, I actually started going out to Cali and linked up with Dre or whatever. We did a song called Bad Meets Evil at one of his studios that he recorded at, and I mean, the rest is history.
So I actually didn't realize that. So Royce was already kind of you already had something going in Detroit. Like you were opening for Usher. That sounds weird.
Yeah.
Retrospectively, it sounds weird.
My buzz wasn't that big. It was just, I can't even remember how that show happened.
Yeah, but probably Usher back then was probably...
But it's 97. Usher was already there.
Yeah, he had some. Yeah,
He was already going.
Yeah, Usher was big.
This is already onto his second album. Like he was 17, 18 already.
It was a building full of girls.
Just like a Slaughterhouse show. It's the exact same
opposite.
Exactly. Wait, so were you familiar with who M was?
Of course. I had already bought the EP.
So how poppin' was the Slim Shady EP in Detroit? Like how big was it before? Because I remember when I heard about it when I was doing college radio, but you were already out in Cali by that point. By the time I'd heard about it, people were like, oh, there's this dude, he's signing with Dre. That was when I'd heard about it.
Yeah, well, the Slim Shady EP and the Infinite album were real big in the hip hop community in Detroit.
Well, the Infinite record, I think, sold like 200. We sold like 200 cassettes or whatever. I don't even think we had pressed up any CDs, and the EP sold like a couple thousand. So to back then, at that time, to sell a couple thousand, in Detroit, like locally, was a pretty big deal,
But at that point, you'd already been grinding for a minute.
Yeah.
Like this is the culmination of, in 97 when that happens, this is the culmination of you grinding for how long? How many years had you already been pushing?
I don't know. Well, I think I got serious at rap at about 15, 16, so... I had been like trying to like, I mean, probably like out there like really, really doing it and trying to promote myself and things like that, I think probably 20, 21 is when I like really. So probably about 5 years I had really been on like a really serious grind to try to do something.
And how much of the way you're perceived, the way that you've been sort of that your story's been portrayed to me, at least
You sound very 60-minute-ish.
Look at the studio
You sound
I'm in.
very 60. Like, how much have you?
Now let's.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Do you want me to if I curse in the
No,
middle?
I didn't mean to jump in.
Okay, no,
you
we're
sound
just
very Dan Rather-ish.
The studio looks like where they'd be shooting.
Don't let the studio affect you. Do you,
Fine,
fams?
fine. I'll do exactly what here. How about a full 60 minutes question? Hey, show us one of your raps. Can you do one of your raps for us? No, but like, I just always think of you as at first like this kid who was kind of the dude banging on people's doors who people didn't want to hear at first. Like the dudes who would show up at my college show. You're kind of like, I don't know about this dude, who then eventually got good. Is that how it is, or were people already fucking with you from the jump?
Oh, I started out dope.
First time out the gate. But you know what I mean?
I mean, everybody's rap is something that, I mean, any music is something you got to practice at and, you know, before you can even attempt to be good at it, you know? So, I mean, I certainly practiced and you know, I went around to clubs and did things like, you know, just rapped on open mics and things like that, you know, trying to make a name, got booed a few times off stage, you know, just was, you know, experimenting, just seeing where I could go with it. You know, I knew hip hop was something I wanted to do, but, you know, I had to get to a certain level before I could actually even be respected, I guess, you know.
I got gonged the first time I rapped at the hip hop shop.
What's gonged is?
It's like you go in there, they pass the mic around, and the DJ put a beat on, and if he not feeling what you're doing, he put this. You remember they used to do that? He put like this crazy slow music on, and I mean pass the mic.
Oh yeah, I thought you meant literally gong. Like
So that happened to me. My first experience at the hip hop shop. It was so bad.
Wait, what was the hip hop shop?
What was the hip hop shop?
It was store or?
Yeah, it was Maurice Malone's store, and they used to do open mics there. It was kind
It
of
was a record store.
It was a record store / I mean, they sold records, they sold clothing.
Okay.
You know, they sold a little bit of everything. Anything that was hip hop.
Yeah, 'cause I always heard that, you know,
Backpacks.
it started in the hip hop shop. I didn't know exactly what it was.
7 Mile.
Do either of you guys consider yourselves naturals or both kind of practiced? I always thought of M as like, you actually are one of the dudes who grinded. It's not like you came out hitting jump shots the first time you stepped out. You're the dude who sat out there and took 10,000 jump shots a day. You know what I'm saying? Do you think of it? I don't know if you think of it that way, but was it something that really required serious grind early on for both of you? Because you guys are both really writers. You know what I'm saying? It's a little bit different than your cat who just jumps on and freestyles. Not that you guys can't do that, but you know what I'm saying? It's kind of a different game.
I can't freestyle.
Yeah, you don't, right? You don't freestyle in general.
I'm not good at that at all. That's why when I had that battle with Mr. Fab, I was so confused because it was like, yo, if I thought I was coming here for a battle, there's no way I would have gotten to that because I can't do that like them dudes can.
Yeah, well, it's a different skill. It's a different skill set.
It's a talent that I don't have.
Freestyling is something that I think that I don't mean to cut you off, but I think that I did. Sorry, man.
So sorry to you.
No, I think freestyling is something that like you definitely have to. You have to hone that craft. Like you have to practice. You have to, you know. In other words, if somebody was to ask me to freestyle right now, I'm like, if I'm out of practice, I might not be able to do it as good as if I was doing something. Yeah, like, you know. And back then, at the time period that you're talking about, like that was something that I constantly worked on. Was trying, you know, think on my toes and try to, you know, come up with a line. And what if he says this? Maybe I can say that. You know, so it's definitely something that if you fall out of it for a minute, you can't, you know, it's hard to just jump right back into it.
People always talk about there being a science to your lyric writing, like that it's like more mathematic than the average writer. That there's like a certain way that you pattern your rhymes that's different or somehow coded. Like there's people talk crazy about the way you write rhymes, that it's like really mathematical the way you work syllables. Do you have any sort of like code that you consider different besides
the way
artist?
Bad does it or the way Evil does it?
I was referring to Bad. I mean, no, I was referring to Evil.
Okay.
This is confusing.
M and M, Evil. Use the E.
So you're saying, hold on, you're saying is there like a code to it?
Yeah, like people say that if you were to look at your rhymes, right? Like you have that book that came out, didn't you? Didn't you have a book of rhymes that was actually, I was like a coffee table book where like there was actually your notes scribbled, like actual writing in a book?
Yeah, I would write on everything.
But like people say that if you look at your rhymes, there's more of like a mathematical pattern to the way you rhyme as opposed to other people.
Like Goodwill Hunting?
Basically what I'm saying is, how do you like them apples? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Like, is there anything different to it? Or for you just sit down and write?
I just write my rhymes, like whatever. If I have a piece of paper, I'll write it, something up here, then I'll think of something and write it down here. A lot of times I'll write things all over the paper so that if I ever lose it, people will be like, "What the fuck is this?"
He's mastered the art of very, very small font. Like you almost
yeah, and I'll write it small. Yeah. So.
Royce, do you write right? You just go straight forward, write it down straight?
Yeah, very sloppy handwriting. I write it as I'm thinking, so it's always real sloppy. And I use twos. Every time I hit 2 bars, I write a 2 so I know exactly where I'm at on the verse. That's it.
How about we start with some of the first hip hop that you guys fell in love with? That's a question I've always wanted to put out there. That I remember one moment for me. Like, here's the thing, Cipha. There was an evolution of my thoughts on Eminem as an artist. Like, I'm 31. So when you came out in 97 or whatever, 98, I was beginning of college. So I'm already DJing at this point. I'm Joe Underground, super backpack head. So naturally, I do what all white guys do, which is at first question the new white MCUs out. I'm like, who is this dude? What's this guy about? As time goes on, I remember one of the things that made me, besides eventually hearing the album and then really Marshall Mathers, was when you won, I think it was when you won the Oscar. Didn't you win the Oscar for 8 Mile? Didn't you win the Oscar for Best Song from 8 Mile?
Yeah, that was Lose Yourself.
You won the Oscar for Lose Yourself. And in that speech, you got up there and thanked.
Oh, it was the Grammys.
Was that the Grammys?
That was the
G-Rap, Kane.
Cool G-Rap, Big Daddy Kane, yeah.
And so then my feelings on you went to a whole different level with like the level of respect you have for the game. But I've never really heard you have a conversation about the music that you really fell in love to, except for what we saw on the soundtrack of 8 Mile and what's being played in the movie. But like, what was the stuff that you guys really fell in love, to hip hop to?
Well, for me, it was. It goes as far back as shit, man. Ice-T, LL, Run DMC, Beastie Boys, Kumo D, Eric B. and Rakim, Big Daddy Kane, Cool G-Rap. Just, as a kid, I was just a hip hop connoisseur / sponge. Just, it was the one thing. Like, as soon as I heard this music, I was like, I latched onto it so quick, and I just felt like before I even knew I wanted to do it, I just loved the music.
I think Run DMC might be the first piece of vinyl that I bought. Me and my big brother used to memorize all the songs and do the routine. The LL Cool J I'm Bad video. I knew that whole routine. My father used to actually have me do the routine for his friends when they came over.
Yeah. The most embarrassing thing that I can remember doing hip-hop-wise when I was a kid is that one day I wanted to show my grandfather, my 75-year-old Jewish grandfather, my dance that I came up with to Greatest Man Alive by 3 Times Dope. Like I thought he'd really, really be impressed by this. But it was Detroit a weird market growing up? Like, Detroit's kind of in between as far as sometimes Midwest markets, what is really popping here is kind of like, there'll be like Texas shit that's popping, West Coast, like Ice-T, stuff like that, and East Coast. Like, it's sort of a weird hybrid of stuff, I feel like.
It's like a melting pot. You can get all different kinds of music here.
Yeah, we would get it from, it seemed like, as a kid growing up, it seemed like we would get East Coast, West Coast, a little bit of Southern. Like, it was kind of all over the place. So we, like, NWA was something that was really big here when they first came out. And, at the same time, like, Audio 2, or it just came from everywhere. And it was kind of like, I think that those are the influences that kind of helped me to, I think we just in Detroit, we had the best of all worlds, it seemed like.
Did you meet anybody when you were younger? Like, did anybody come to town to perform and you met someone like?
I rapped for Redman when I was 18, I think. He came to St. Andrews. I rapped for him and he was like, all right, that's cool. Got in the limo.
It's funny knowing Redman years later. He must have been like, what was he? Red of all people was like, that's dope, kid. I'm going to go get high now. See you later.
I'm pretty sure the rap wasn't very good. So that's cool.
Yeah, and who was the first rapper you met?
First rapper I met. Wow, I want to say. I don't know if I'm drawing a blank. I want to say it was Dre.
Really?
It was the first
Big time rapper you met?
Yeah. Am I right?
Paul. Does Paul remember anything else? Paul, you remember meeting anyone else before?
Did I meet anybody before Dre? As far as like,
You met Razzcast because you asked Razzcast if you wanted him to do the hype man thing.
oh wait. I met I think the first well, at least one of the first people before I even met Dre, I met Tretch. I met Tretch in Vegas. He had it was some convention. What was that? It was a convention, and I met him and took a picture with him, and he was cool as shit. And I wasn't like, I think I came to I think we went to Vegas. Yeah, the Magic convention, I think. And I went there to like, I think we went there to sell our tapes or something like that, to sell the CDs, the Slim Shady EP, and it was right before the thing with Dre had popped off or whatever. And I met Tretch, and he was cool as shit, and I told him he was one of my idols, and took a picture with him. And I think I met Redman with the Outsiders.
Oh yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah.
Is it going to be a lot of questions that's going to require us to have a good memory? Because it might not go so well.
Just whatever you remember.
Yeah, well, I feel like Naughty by Nature is one of the groups in hip hop history that, as time goes on, gets sort of pushed to the side for no reason.
Yeah, that's crazy to me. That's crazy to me.
Yeah, no, I remember when Flex DJ'd for M and Dre at the Music Awards. I was talking to M, right, in a trailer, and he was naming his 5 favorite rappers or whatever, and you said Tretch.
Yeah.
And I was like, Tretch? You know what I'm saying? Because I always liked Naughty, but I never thought of Tretch as being that ill. And I was like, if he says Tretch, I'm going to go back and listen. And then I understood like what you meant. Like his rhyme style was crazy.
Well, first of all, you can't even mention the 90s without mentioning Naughty by Nature.
Yeah, definitely.
And Tretch
Yeah, but I'm a DJ. You know what I'm saying? So I don't look at it like you look at it.
Yeah, you're not an MC.
Naughty by Nature off top was great, but I never heard anyone say Tretch as one of their favorite rappers. I heard people say Naughty by Nature one of their favorite groups.
Yo, so many people, especially in the 90s, but so many people were influenced and got their styles from Tretch.
Yeah, now I see it. After you said that, I went back and listened, and I was like, damn, he was right. He was ill with the lyrics.
Yo, he was with the lyrics, with the delivery, everything. It was just crazy.
Yeah, but there's this weird thing that happens in hip hop where certain artists, usually when they go happy, end up getting forgotten.
Yeah.
Because Tretch they end up the last things you remember from Naughty really are like Feel Me Flow and stuff like that at the end. When happiness comes, you're gone. Like Kid and Play, classic group, really legendary in terms of they had the cartoon, they had the movies. Kid and Play really was one of the first groups to take hip hop to a really crazy global level. They're gone.
Yeah, but if you think about it, kind of off the rip, pretty much, Naughty by Nature came out with OPP, and it was a very happy song. But if you listen to the rhyme style that Tretch is doing, it's fucking crazy.
And they had a lot of dark, dope, real records, too.
Uptown Anthem.
Yeah, I mean...
I'm not so sure.
I mean, Tretch is still dope.
I'm not so sure that they've forgotten, though.
It's just... Listen, Royce...
They still tour.
No.
They still tour, but it's
But
like,
when people have their
I mean,
conversations...
but if we're talking about that time frame, when they first came out or whatever, just saying how he influenced the 90s when he first came out, because Tretch still is ill today. But it's just, for that time period, it was just, for me, it was something that was like, when he came out, I wanted that shit. Proof brought over the Naughty by Nature, the tape, and played it for me, and I wanted to fucking quit rapping. When I heard Yoke the Joker, and then The Wickedest Man Alive came next,
crazy.
I was like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. I ain't that good.
And that album's solid. And 1993 is solid too. Mm-hmm. Not to mention, no one ever plays the Hip Hop Hooray Pete Rock remix, which is like just godly record.
Yeah.
Do you ever run into dudes like that anymore? Like, one thing I always think that's weird about rappers who blow up to the level that you've blown up, of which there's only a handful or less. What's it like when you run into the dudes who were your idol, who now are like, oh my God, that's Eminem? Like that to me would always be such a mind fuck. I would assume.
Well, I met Tretch. I mean, not met. I saw Tretch at the Not Afraid video shoot. We shot it in Jersey when we were shooting that video, and he came up on the trailer. I think he was just passing through and saw that we were there, and came by to say what's up. I still look at him the exact same, the exact same way that I looked at him when I was a kid. Like, fuck, dude is ill. He's still my idol. So,
did Kane? I remember hearing a story. Kane, for your birthday or something, did Kane do a surprise performance for you or something?
Yeah, Big Daddy Kane performed in Biz Marquee.
For your birthday?
Yeah, Proof actually helped really set that up.
Wow.
It was a surprise thing that
So you didn't know?
No, I didn't know.
It was at a club or something, or?
Yeah, it was at St. Andrews Hall. I don't remember a whole lot from that night because I was pretty.
Oh, that's when you were on
that stuff.
He was on that stuff.
Yeah.
Wait, so what year? We're talking about like early 2000s, something like that.
This was
mid, right?
What year was that, Paul? 2004? Nah.
No, it was later.
Nah, it was 2004, 2005.
Because I remember the story. Somebody told me.
Yo, that must have been.
I think I was at Shade 45 at that time.
That would have been though for little Marshall Mathers. I would have to think if the only thing that had ever happened in your rap career had been that Kane and Biz performed at your birthday, you would have been good.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
like that's it.
Yeah, no, it was crazy when I saw Kane come out. It was like, holy shit, it's still ill to me, man. It's still ill to me, to see all these guys. Like it's just, I become a kid again when I see them,
So you don't. Are you able to step outside and you've just gotten? I was saying to Cipha the other day. You're just in this weird category. Frankly, that to me, I think, and Royce, I'd be curious your input on it too, especially how close you are to it, that I really think is just M and J. This like category of and Snoop and maybe Snoop of just like absolutely larger than hip hop. And I wonder if to survive and be somewhat normal, a somewhat normal human being, you kind of just have to not think about it. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Just be who you are. Like don't ever change for whatever reason. Exactly. Thanks, man.
Cypher can do that all day. Cypher, you want to play it? You can play 2 seconds off your laptop too.
Nah, just who wants to stop and think about that shit? You just want to I just love hip hop, man, and I'm Jay, same thing. I'm sure he just doesn't really think about it, just does him,
Yeah.
I'm sure they stay too busy to even think about it anyway.
Are you really busy? Em, are you busy like all the time?
Yeah, so can we hurry this up?
Exactly.
Up,
I can tell.
Yeah.
I can tell that's where we're going next.
Got some shit to do.
Get off me. I got a buzz.
I got shit I'm doing.
So the question one thing that I'd always wanted to ask Em as another white dude in the game, not that I'm in the game.
Word. Okay.
How hard is it? No, was I always the biggest pet peeve, and one of the things that I think pushed me away from liking you at first was that I'd meet white people who would go, thank God for that white, who would go, I'm not really into hip hop, but I love that Eminem. I would be like, does that drive Em insane that there are people who can say they don't like hip hop, they don't get it. And I'm like, then how do you appreciate Eminem? Like, he's actually incredibly complex. I don't understand how you could just be like, I don't really fuck with hip hop. But that Eminem, like, you kind of address it on Dear White America, but I don't know, and maybe you don't hear it because you are Eminem. But does the concept annoy you?
I mean, the way that you're describing that feels like kind of anything in hip hop when it crosses over and it gets to a certain level. Like I instantly think of Fat Boys and Crushing when that album came out. It feels like me being an underground hip hop head to the core, especially when I was a kid, like kids that I knew. As soon as the Fat Boys made Crushing, was like, it was almost like the Fat Boys. I'm just using this as the best example I could think of offhand, but it was something that only a few of us knew about, and we wanted to hold on to that. And that's the consensus, I think, of the underground. It's like, man, this is ours. We want to hold on to it. And as soon as it gets larger than life, or as soon as it blows up to a certain level, we don't like it no more because everyone knows about it, so it's not special anymore. When really, the Crushing album was ill. If you go back and listen to it, it was. I mean, they still were rhyming at the same level. It was dope, you know. But it's like it had some commercial success, so people kind of, you know, whatever. And I think that, you know, sometimes, I don't know, like sometimes things just get to a certain level, and people may feel like they don't like it no more, or. But
for me, I think of it in your case as an odd racial component in hip hop that bugs me. It's like there was this period when they were playing the rock station in my old building I used to work at. Started playing one of your records. Couldn't have been My Name Is because the timing's not right. But they were playing one of your records, but they wouldn't add. This is a rock station, but they wouldn't add 99 Problems. Jay-Z,
which sounds like a rock,
which is a rock record,
right?
So I'm like, it bothers me that, and this was because this was no knock at you. You and Jay are the same to me. You're like just epic MCs.
No, Jay's black.
Jay is black,
and he's from Brooklyn.
And he's from Brooklyn, of course. Which
so they're not the same.
He inherently is on that Brooklyn bullshit. But so it just always irked me. I'm just like, there's an inherent component of, and you know what it is? Fine. Here's what I've said about this. Hopefully, M doesn't kick me out of the studio.
Spit it out already.
I'll say Eminem is in the top 5 greatest MCs of all time. But at the same time, if I ask the common white dude who's not that into hip hop, it's like he's overrated. It's like they don't know. There's an element of that crowd that loves you, and it worries me. I'm like, do they love you because they understand how dope you are? Or do they love you because you're a rapper they feel like they can relate to? When really they couldn't even relate to you because your upbringing's nothing like them in the first place. Except for a skin tone they see.
But the person that told you that he was overrated, why would you even take their opinion? They obviously don't know anything about hip hop.
Yeah, it's like this.
I don't think that person would be an opinion that I would even value.
Well, I don't value the opinion. It's just the concept that bothers me, and I think as a result, it put me off. And then eventually, I was like, I didn't care anymore. I was like, this dude's just one of the nicest of all time, and it bothered me that I guess race even exists in it. But obviously, race exists in everything. It's America.
Yeah, I mean, there's some things you can't control. You got to sit back and just take the shit for what it is. You know, you don't really have it's always a hard thing for me to even understand. Like,
yeah, it's definitely a race thing with him too, because I think, and it's not because we in the group together. I think he's the greatest of all time, but that's just my opinion. But I think
you have him number one.
I think he's number one. Yeah.
And at what point did that happen then? When did he take number one to you?
The guy's pretty ill, man.
No, he's good.
It's been a minute. It's been a minute, but I think there's people that don't want to admit it because he's white.
And that's crazy to me. That makes no sense.
It's definitely a racial thing.
It's like, oh fuck.
What about
he's the best ever? Shit, he's white.
This is making me real
uncomfortable. I'm about to say, you don't like it at all, do you?
Nah.
So you don't even, when you have a conversation about the best ever, you don't consider yourself in the conversation.
You're not allowed to put yourself in the conversation.
Yeah, I don't know. No, or you can think you're just the best, or you can be like every MC and be like, nah, fuck.
Yeah, but every rapper, isn't it your job to say you're the best?
You probably thought you were number one when you were 20.
Not after you reach a certain level.
Then it becomes, because it could be
true. At my level, you're supposed to say you're the best. But then if you reach a certain level, you can't say that no more. You can't talk like that.
When you might be the best. You mean when you actually might be the best ever? You can't say it.
Every rapper is you're supposed to rap. Anybody who raps competitively, anybody who's competitive about it and takes hip-hop as a sport raps to be the best. Everybody wants to say they're the best. Everybody wants to believe they're the best. If not, then why do you do it? You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think I've even heard like Wayne say something like that along the lines too. It's, you know, it's like in any sport, football, you know, you want to be the best receiver. You know, you get in the game to be the best, but it doesn't necessarily mean that. To me, all that shit is just a matter of opinion. Yeah, and everyone's got a different opinion. No opinion is wrong or right, and you can sit and debate about it all day long.
And I do.
Yeah.
Nerds.
You know? But, I mean, the truth of the matter, how can you really say this person is the best at this?
It's about your preference.
Yeah.
It's about your preference.
Yeah, but speaking for the nerds who enjoy qualifying things, because Cipha and I, before this interview, I'm like, Cipha, would you say that besides J and M, there's anyone else on the level? He's like, yo, I don't ever. He doesn't think about things that way. He hates them. But me, the reason I was into sports is it comes over into my hip hop. I like rating. I like ranking. And there are criteria that nerds like myself use, and the greats generally hit on all those things, whether it's lyrics, voice, rocking a crowd. You know, and everyone's numbers varies on different things.
Yeah, I feel like if I was sitting in a barbershop, and one person said Tupac was the greatest of all time, I wouldn't argue with him. Because all of this stuff is arguable. If one person said Biggie, I couldn't argue that. If you say Jay-Z, I definitely can't argue that. If you say M, you can't really argue it unless you're just gung-ho about your own opinion.
And I know I sound nuts here to a lot of people, but I've never been able to accept the Pac #1 argument. What he means to people, #1, I accept all day. But when you add the qualities that I'd be talking about, I always felt like it's not a legitimate conversation. And frankly, Biggie, I think, is high. That's why I have Biggie higher than Pac as an MC.
And it's crazy that hip-hop is so powerful that you probably couldn't have made that Tupac comment in the wrong hood in Detroit.
I wouldn't.
See,
you're not broadcasting this in Detroit live right now, are you?
Yeah,
this is for nerd rooms to discuss. I don't go into Jersey. You can't go in Jersey and say that either. And I know what from working in radio and having 10-year-old black kids call me who weren't even alive when Pac was alive, and knowing what he meant to them, I was like, well, his effect on people is just out of this world. But that's a different conversation.
Have you ever gave him a shot though?
I have. Come on, man.
Okay.
But keep in mind,
you're saying he is one of the best?
Do you have him as one of the best?
I think he's arguably one of them. But I just think, he didn't get as much time as M had. M covered everything that I feel like he was capable of eventually achieving during his career. M and J just did it. Pac and Biggie didn't have the same amount of time, so that's why, to me, they're not greater than him.
But Pac touched people in a different way. Pac was very emotionally driven. Like, his music was, you felt Pac's music. And if you thought, there's people that could debate, like, well, Biggie was a better MC. Well, if he was a better MC, Biggie might have been a better storyteller, like, on a certain level. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, not saying that Pac couldn't tell stories, but I'm saying, like...
But Biggie didn't touch emotion as much as Pac did. Pac definitely did more emotion. Biggie did more stories. That is probably an accurate...
Yeah, I think that if you were to compare the two, but how can you say that one is better than the other?
Exactly.
I can't... I really can't. Like, the debate will just exist forever. Like, I could throw a Biggie record on and be like, oh, this shit is fucking crazy. And then put a Pac record on, oh, yeah, that shit was dope, too, though. It just, if you go song for... It just doesn't make any sense. It's just preference.
They were so good that you didn't even realize how young they were.
No, that's insane.
Like, they were ahead of their time.
I mean, to think that... they were 24 and 25 years old when they passed away. And to know that I'm 31, to think about what they accomplished, like, it's just so weird. They were kids. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now you think of them as kid MCs. You're like, these are kids. And they're kings of the culture, which is so weird to me. It's something that just blows my mind. My personal #1 MC, I heard a rumor about you had talked to, that there was some conversation but never happened, was Big Pun. And Pun and M would have been Royce. I'm sure you could, think about how insane it would have been. Was there ever a conversation?
That would have been a syllable frenzy.
Yeah, like, was that ever a conversation?
No, I never spoke with Pun.
No.
Damn. There was he never reached out? You never reached out? Did you guys have any contact?
I wish I could have.
Didn't we open up for Big Pun? For Lyricist Lounge, or was that just me?
Yeah, I thought you said that you did at some point, Royce.
I think I did. Or was I with you?
I can't remember. Those days are.
But you don't remember meeting?
Very hazy, my friend.
I didn't meet him.
But you never met. You never met him.
I didn't meet him. I was sitting in a room with him, and he had like a lot of people around him. So
I don't think I ever met Pun. I don't think I ever got the chance to meet him.
That was like one of the things when he passed that, like, I remember thinking, like, damn, that's never going to happen now. Because it would have. You feel like it just would have had to have at some point had happened.
Not like the like you and the Redman.
That eventually happened.
I'm glad that happened.
Yeah, the Redman record, right? What was that? Flex album?
No, it was Rush Hour 2 or some random Def Jam soundtrack.
I can't even remember what we actually used it for. Off the Wall record. You were talking about?
Off the Wall, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was a Def Jam soundtrack. I remember that. I remember which one. Not a How High. I think. What was it? Nutty Professor? No.
Yeah, that's what it was.
It was Nutty Professor.
Nutty
right.
Professor, yeah, 2.
Nutty Professor 2. Yeah.
Yeah, the Pun thing would have been crazy if I ever had got a chance to do that. I don't think I was. I think actually when Pun was at a certain level, I don't think I was even.
No, you were around, but you were starting. You were.
Yeah, I think I was just like, I don't even know necessarily if he knew who I was. At that time.
No, he definitely
he did.
He knew who you were.
Fat Joe told us, because Fat Joe has told us that things Pun said about you.
Yeah, no, he loved.
Oh, that's crazy.
He loved you and Black Thought.
Yeah,
favorites.
And he got Black Thought on the album.
Yeah.
But Black thought he knew first. Obviously, you were just coming up at that point.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that would have been an honor and a privilege to be able to do that.
All right. So speaking of the posthumous things, the ultimate nerd question that has to be asked, that I ask in every Juan Epstein, but particularly
This is not Juan Epstein. This is Noisemakers, just so you know.
Shut up! No,
This is Noisemakers.
It's not Noisemakers. Just because it's extra nerdy.
And the way the setup is.
The setup in this room is Noisemakers, like this nerdy interview series I do. But how did M and Dilla never happen with the 9,000 people you have in common? What was your relationship with Dilla? Like, it's been speculated on forever, but by nerds, but no one really knows the M Dilla story, or if there ever was one at all.
There was never really a M Dilla story. You know, I spoke with him a couple times outside of a club, but at the time, I mean, I know Proof would come around and he'd have, you know, new beats with Dilla, and, you know, everybody was just kind of coming up together, and Dilla had his crew that he worked with, and I just think that there was, you know, the stars weren't aligned at that time, you know. And I was still kind of, I think at that point in time when, you know, Dilla was kind of coming up and Proof, like, I was still under Proof's wing, so to speak, at that time. Like, I was still trying to make a name for myself. I think I had just, like, really started, like, rhyming at clubs and like at the Hip Hop Shop and Ebony Showcase and C-Note and places like that. Like, Proof would take, you know, come here, come to this club, come to that club. But, you know, but Dilla, obviously, you know, he'd get paid for beats, and I certainly didn't have any money to pay him for a beat or anything like that at that time. But yeah, his beats are crazy.
Yeah, he was. Yo, Royce, you might have gotten. You got one of Let's Grow is high on my list of Dilla gems.
Yeah, he gave me. I got lucky.
You got a couple.
I get lucky with these producers, man.
Well, not to mention, Boom. You got a primo.
There's a Boom. I think it is.
Boom's one of the best.
When I used to go to Germany a lot, that was the biggest record.
You know, I stole that beat from Capone and Noriega. Shout out to them. Shout out to them. I went to the studio and he had it up on the board. He said, "I'm making this for Capone and Noriega." I think I begged him for like 30 minutes for the beat.
Shit.
Before they could get there.
Boom is fucking absolutely crazy. One of my absolute favorites.
Appreciate it.
Em, did anyone ever tell you, this is a joke that I've wanted to make in my nerdy in my head my whole life, that Raucous Records is not pronounced Ruckus, but is actually pronounced Raucous?
Any man
did it
in front of
wait, I thought there was something else was going to come.
That was it.
Wait, hold on. Did anyone tell me what?
That Raucous is pronounced Raucous, because you always said, the couple times you referred to it was as Ruckus, not Raucous.
I did?
Yeah. That shit you did on Ruckus, that shit is fat.
But ain't that how everybody pronounce it?
Maybe. Not me. Cipha worked there. Everyone pronounces it Raucous,
Wait,
right?
say it again. How do you pronounce it again?
Raucous.
That's how I did pronounce it.
No.
I like the shit you did on Raucous.
Do you have Stan? Do you have Stan on there?
That shit.
Sounds like Ruckus.
Man, pull that shit up. Man.
Pull up Stan right now.
Oh, I have it.
Yeah, you might not have Stan in your club files. You don't play Stan in the club?
Nah.
By the way, this is not nerdy at all.
No.
There's no part of this that is nerdy.
Fuck no, it's not.
What?
Not at all. Yo, what was the
I said Raucous. I know I said Raucous. Go, man, pull that shit
I
up.
don't have it.
Is there internet in here? We can pull it up on YouTube very easily.
Man, get my laptop.
I'll bet
Get the laptop.
Get my laptop.
Em's laptop.
Yeah, get M's laptop.
Get a laptop.
Yo, what the F was Chronic 2001 like? That shit. Just what was that environment like? Especially as a hip hop nerd. You were there too, weren't you, Royce?
Yeah.
Like as hip hop nerds turned grown ups. Yeah.
Yeah, I was there.
What was it like? I mean, it turns out to be, in my opinion, one of the greatest albums of all time. Like,
well, I was 20, so
you were 20.
I was 20, and I had only been rapping a couple years. I still live with my parents. So when I got the Eminem and Dre call,
how weird was it when Eminem's like, "Yo, I'm working with Dr. Dre." Well, I guess you hadn't known him for that long, but that's still got to be weird. Like, really?
Well, I was happy for him. I was a kid, an opinionated fan. Dre had just did that last album that people talk about. What's
the Aftermath one?
Yeah, so I didn't know if he was gonna come back hard like that. You know what I'm saying? And when I went out there and heard what he was doing, I was like, man, this is special.
Is this the one you wrote? Wait, what did you write again?
I wrote something to this beat, but Why are
He
you?
has your version. That's right.
You're playing that why now?
He was- this is the version with you. Where'd you get this one?
That's so bad.
The shit, yo.
And it's called Way I Be Pimpin' in parentheses. I don't even have this.
Classic.
That is not a classic.
That's the shit, yo.
That's the shit. Fuck off.
That's the worst hook ever in the world.
The Way I Be
History.
Pimpin'?
Yeah.
No, but that album just, I don't know. It seems like it must have been nuts to get to be involved in just a period of hip hop that was so amazing. That was a great record.
Definitely crazy times in the studio from what I can remember of it.
So were you always that whole period where you messed up in the studio all the time?
Not all the time, but probably most of it.
Even when you were brand new, like even when you had just gotten to LA and you're just getting shit popping with
I mean,
Dre?
look, it was, if not to get too deep into the to the drugs or anything like that, but it was one of those things where it was like if I was in a, I was new to the game, I was still young, and I was like, the shit for me was more like the studio atmosphere was kind of like the creative atmosphere was almost like a party atmosphere. And I don't mean like party like, oh, there's chicks around or anything like that. I mean just like, it was like, man, let's make music. We need this to be creative, and this is the concoction that we need, and a little bit of this Henny and a little bit of these pills, and you know what I'm saying? And then go home and just be like, was able to shut it off and be cool. But that only lasts for so long. You get into that routine, then all the time you're creating. So you feel like when you're creating, man, I need this to create. This is my ingredients, and then you get caught up in it, and it's just like next thing you know, you go home and you try to cut it off, and you're like, man, I wish I had that shit, and then it just becomes a problem.
Can you go back and listen to records from then and remember your state of mind when you did it? Like, oh, I was effed when I did this.
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes I go, what was that record? When did I record that?
Why did I do that?
Yeah. No, addiction is a tricky thing, man, and it definitely crept up on me. It was a gradual thing, but when it got me, it got me.
Well, somehow
Well, I know it's bad, but you made some great shit, so thanks.
my cousin Jeremy hit me and goes, tell 13-year-old Jeremy says thank you. Like, you made teenagers' lives.
Hey, bless you, man.
Bless yourself.
Fucking
And bless
rap
you,
studio
bless you
shit,
in
man.
advance.
Royce is allergic to whack rappers, so you might want to
Let me scoot over the other way, man.
Yeah, don't get that.
All right. So look, we flew all the way out here.
Word
Let's make
up.
sure we get the part so we can save our jobs.
Yeah,
Word.
let's get the exciting Hot 97
All right. The
interview stuff for a minute.
the link up back with Eminem and Royce the 5'9".
Yeah.
What's the
5'9" back.
Well, you want me to take this one?
Yeah.
I had a falling out with D12, and that damaged our relationship to a degree. And then I made up with Proof. We went out on the road together. Then I made up with the rest of the guys in the group.
like years later?
Yeah, we went out on the tour together,
Right.
and with Proof passing and everything, we just, I guess, looked at it like,
Stop this bullshit.
yeah. So they told him that we was good. Vaughn was pushing real hard to get us back together. That's Conniver.
Mm-hmm.
And he called me one day out the blue.
Who? This
did.
guy?
Evil.
Evil called you.
Yeah,
Evil called me.
I called bad, and we worked it out. Like, we took a couple phone calls. We talked about shit, and just realized, like, this is stupid. This whole the whole way everything started, the way it just makes no sense.
But as you get older and look back, man, doesn't beef like that just fucking feel so stupid?
Yeah, I always say that that 20s decade is where you make all your mistakes.
Yo, I always say that in my 30s, I feel way much better. Like I did some stupid ass shit in the 20s, and you get older, you're like, why the fuck did I even? And then when you meet 20-year-olds and they're like, yo, I ain't fucking with him. That my man tried to play, and you're like, oh, shut
But
up, man.
how long did you guys go without talking?
Years.
7 or 8 years, maybe.
And Royce, it had to be kind of as extra annoying for you because in addition to like you missing your friend, and it's annoying because you're beefing kind of and quietly, people also always associate you with M. So it's got to be questions about M and talk about M.
Yeah, it was. I went through a lot of people. This was my favorite one. People feeling like that they can't mess with me because it's a potential they might be able to get an M verse, so they don't want to mess it up. You know what I'm saying? Like that's kind of why I'm not real into the whole industry thing. You know, I got to see some things over those years, so that's why I'm kind of
now.
Like,
were you supposed to do a Bad Meets Evil album back then? Was it supposed to be an album? Like, was it?
We had talked about it. We talked about doing it. We spoke about doing it after his first album came out and after my first album on Tommy Boy came out. We was going to get back together and do some stuff together because we had fun working with each other.
Yeah.
And it obviously didn't happen, so.
Oh, yeah. I forgot you was on Tommy Boy.
I forgot I was on Tommy Boy, too.
Interestingly
No, you know, it's funny
Tommy
'cause
Boy forgot he was on Tommy Boy.
No, because I worked at Tommy Boy, and then I worked at with Star Trek after that. And there's some dope ass Neptune records that you had that never came out.
Yeah, man.
Early.
Me and Pharrell did like 5 records.
Yo, I heard all these records. That they were fucking dope.
I thought they was dope back then. I understand now, looking back in retrospect. When I played the album, they was like, "Yo, we don't really know who you are by listening to these songs." Like
The label said that?
Yeah.
Tommy Boy said that? Fuck off, Tommy Boy.
But Tommy Boy always made so many good decisions.
They were the worst.
They're great.
No disrespect.
They were great.
No disrespect, Tommy Boy. But go fuck yourself.
No disrespect.
No disrespect, though. I guess if you put the little disclaimer.
Yeah, no,
No,
we do
you can say whatever you want.
say whatever you want.
You can say whatever you want.
Or you can even say it after. There's like a 10-second rule.
You have 10 seconds. You're fine if you want to say anything. And what about on the record, on the new joint, when Roy says, me and Shady, what is the line? Me and Shady, dead at our, was it?
Dead at the Paso.
Dead at the Paso, so that officially
Dead at the Paso that basically resurrected my cash flow.
I love that. I love that line.
Thanks, man.
And you really did a good job with it, Em.
Yeah.
But like,
Well, when I wrote it, I was thinking,
what would Royce?
Yeah, like what should Royce say here? And it was, yeah.
But Royce, that had to be a kind of, it's a pretty, working with M is different. Slaughterhouse is a great project. You've done other great projects. However, it's a different career situation doing a project with M now than anything else that's happened in the last 10 years.
Yeah, I'm excited about making hip hop music again. I mean, for a while it was just like, okay, this is just a job.
Yeah.
Now I'm having fun doing it again. It's not popular to hate me anymore. Everybody's being so nice.
Em, is it sort of relieving for you too to get to make an album that you don't have to approach it like thinking about all 9 gazillion Eminem fans, but you can think about the cats who are really out there checking for an Eminem, a Bad Meets Evil album?
Well, that was the best thing about this project was like, teaming up with somebody like Royce. I need that to keep me on my toes, And I think me and him have a certain chemistry from back in the day that we still, we apply it now. It's the same. It's the same kind of chemistry. I think that we've just had a little more practice over the years, and I think are able to. For some reason, it feels like now we're able to play off each other a little bit better than we were back in the day. Mm-hmm. But it was fun. It was like just throw everything out the window and let's just rap.
Just rap.
And just just try to take it back to the basics and just have fun with hip hop. And maybe we don't put a chorus in the song. Maybe we just rap. Maybe we go back and forth. Maybe I put a verse. Maybe we do a chorus. But it doesn't have to be this set formula.
Like a structure.
16 bars.
Right.
Because albums have to be, when you're making an album, it feels like you don't have to. I don't think you necessarily have to. It's not a rule, but it tends typically that if you want to make an album to how do I even say it?
Appeal to the masses.
Yeah, I guess in that sense, you want to try to make it more diverse. You want to try to have
because at the end of the day,
what about the beginning of the day?
Or in the middle of the day.
Even in the middle of the day.
You're gonna at some point it's gonna be for sale. So that has to be on the top of your mind, no matter what. Even though this is like definitely like we listened to it. We just got it last night. We listened to it, and y'all are rapping.
It's rapidy rap.
Ill rapidy rap.
Rappy rap.
But do you still think you want it to sell?
Snippety.
And usually underground rap doesn't sell as much as.
Well, they did put that Bruno joint on there. They do have a sweet one for the ladies. Throw your lighters in the air joint.
Hey, is it for the ladies? You think?
Well, if Kay Fox is any example, she was waving her imaginary lighter the second she heard lighters.
Well, Kay Fox is most definitely a lady.
She is most definitely a lady.
She got a fat ass.
Scythe!
She does have a fat ass.
How dare you say that?
That's our female co-host.
That's very inappropropriate.
Very, very inappropriate.
Like, don't you got to sneeze or something right about now?
My allergies are killing me. Detroit's fucking my shit up, man.
This is weird being in Detroit.
Are you allergic to Detroit?
No, I don't
Be
think
honest.
so. It's just that Delta, man. Flying on Delta fucks me up every time. No disrespect.
Well, good thing you said no disrespect. Now your miles are still valid.
Exactly.
And did any songs off the last album? I mean, your album got played. I mean, I'm talking about The Way You Lie and Not Afraid was in rotation that was so ridiculous. Do you ever get to a point where you get in the car, flip on the radio, see what's playing, you're like, all right, enough Eminem for one day? Or are you excited? Do you still get happy every time you hear one of your records on the radio?
Hey, listen, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't cool with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, it's definitely it's cool, but it's those are definitely different kind of records than what this is. I think, you know.
Yeah, definitely different.
But the only features you threw on there, you guys threw Slaughterhouse on a joint, Bruno Mars on a joint. Is that it?
That's it.
Kept it pretty.
Oh,
Mike
yeah,
Epps.
Mike Epps.
Oh, that's an actual feature. That's one of those features.
He's from Detroit.
That's
so
but isn't that one of those things when they say it's a feature when it's really just a
he's
sample?
from Detroit.
He's still
Is
gonna,
He's featured.
I didn't know that.
Who? Mike
Mike
Epps?
Epps is from Detroit?
Yeah.
I thought he was from L.A.
No, he lives in L.A.
Oh, wow.
Sife's the comic guy.
Yo, this shit. My boy Super Dupes did that with you.
Yes.
Yep.
Shout
Have
out to
you met,
Super
you met
Dupes.
Super Dupes?
Yeah.
Black Chiney.
You know he's insane, right?
Is he?
No, he's crazy.
I just met him and said what up to him. I don't know if he's crazy.
He's Chinese, but he's Jamaican. So he looks like Chinese, but he's
What does he sound like though, Sif?
Jamaican.
Like, what does he
He's
sound
Jamaican.
like? But what does he sound like? But what does he sound like?
No, I'm not gonna do a Jamaican voice.
Why not?
Eminem doesn't want that.
He does. He even talks about it on everything.
Right?
He says a Rasta accent.
Let's talk about accents, man.
Let's have a little accent conversation. There's nothing wrong with that, man.
No, because then he did the WTP joint too.
Yeah. The White Trash Party.
Yep.
Super Dupes did that as well.
Yep.
I just wanted to shout him out.
Em, I'm not going to lie. People were out there waiting for you to touch down on that Summer Jam stage on Sunday. You were one of the main rumored names all day.
A word?
Yeah. People were saying Weezy's bringing out Eminem. That was there. You never had any conversations about touching the stage?
Nah. I'm sorry, man.
Yeah.
Last year, Toronto, at the Drake
When he
show.
touched that stage?
Yo,
Oh, yeah, you was there.
you were there?
I was there.
Oh yeah, I saw you there. This guy. First of all, shout out to Eminem because when he comes through, security just pushes you to the side.
Oh,
you know what I'm
stop
saying?
it.
You get shoved, and I got heavily shoved, and he saw the shoving and came back and said, "No, he's good," and gave me that high five.
No,
You know
he
what
said,
I'm
don't shove him in the face. Shove him in the chest. Keep it a low shove on Scythe.
No, what happened was I was walking by and I think you accidentally hit one of my biceps and I threw you into the wall.
And then
That
he was like,
happens
"Oh,
a lot. And people think that it's Eminem security when it's really not. It's just
It's really just Eminem.
I was like, "Hey, I used to work for you." Hey, but yo, he came out.
They lost.
I swear, no, they screamed the entire verse. Like I didn't even hear you really do the verse. Like you know when you come
did
out
Forever?
when you make a surprise performance, people scream when they first see you, like ah, and then they let you rock. They screamed the entire verse, and then he was out.
If he'd have came out on Weezy's set, it might have even been worse than that.
No. If he'd come out
Why
on...
Summer Jam?
Yeah.
No, it would have been insane.
When was the last time you were at Summer Jam? Do you remember? 03? Something like
No,
that?
it was later than that.
It's been a minute, Paul. 04? Yeah, it would have been big. The Yankee
Was
Stadium...
50 was 04?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That long ago? Shit.
It's been a minute since he touched down. The Yankee Stadium thing was pretty crazy, though.
Yankee Stadium
Yeah.
was sick.
yeah,
Yo,
it's fun.
what's it like? What's it like sharing the stage with Jay? Who, honestly, Jay over the years, I used to think Jay was a... Back in the day, I did not feel Hove's performance. He didn't seem to get it. Now Jay is at a super high level as a performer. Like he can really rock. Like it's got to push you to a sort of different level when you're sharing the bill with Hove.
What was it like to perform with him?
Yeah, like does it make you want to up your ante?
It definitely makes you want to up the ante. You got to be, I mean, Jay's at a to see him perform on stage. He's so comfortable up there. Like this is just my shit right now. Yeah, and it's like the way he controls that stage it's crazy, man.
Did you feel awkward when in the middle of the Nas Jay beef, Nas pulls you into it and says, "M murdered you on your own shit"? And a lot of people say that. That's a common hip hop, line.
I felt a little uncomfortable. Like, I don't want to be
my fighting heroes.
Don't bring me into this kind of thing. But
yeah, that was a pretty ill record. But Jay sort of has a tendency he adapts a little bit, and that was sort of you produced that record. It's an Eminem kind of record on a Jay album. And Jay actually does his sort of Eminem style thing pretty dope on that record. I mean, people ended up underrating Jay because everyone said how hot you were on it. When you go back and listen, Jay actually kind of was ill on that record.
No,
as well.
He killed it.
So tell me about the single.
Hey.
So, I want to hear more about the album. Tell me the track listing. Hey, I will say one thing for our people out there. Pretty ill that it's an EP. It's officially considered an EP, but it's like 11 full songs. It's like 9 full songs.
Well, it's 9 songs, and then there's 2 bonus.
9 songs. That's basically an album, though. That's a good deal as far as looking at it as an EP. And then I looked at how big the files were when I got it, and I was like, oh wait, these are kind of.
You didn't look at the files.
Should we talk about file size?
No.
Can we talk about bit rate for a little bit, guys? Bit rate or file size? This is kind of the direction I think this interview should go.
Like terabytes?
Or terabytes, if you will.
Right.
Tell me about the decision to sign Slaughterhouse and Young Yellow Wolf. We just saw Yellow Wolf. Yellow Wolf was on the festival stage, and he's ridiculous. Cipha became a little boy fan overnight for Yellow Wolf.
He's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Tell you about signing him?
Yeah, like what?
I don't want to know.
Yeah, like
what kind of paper was it? Was it a
Tell us
high grade paper?
Right.
Number 2, was it a pen or was it a Bic pen?
Was your lawyer there?
Was there a lawyer? No, but was people obviously Slaughterhouse?
How
We
you come
know
to that
we know the
decision?
connection with Slaughterhouse though. Obviously through Royce, but like just the logic and being like, oh, I kind of want to re-up Shady and do a Shady 2.0 where I bring on this new dude who happens to be a white boy, although totally different than you, and then signing Slaughterhouse.
Well, we had Paul and I had talked about like as soon as I get back to I guess get myself back to where I feel like I need to be possibly trying to work on rebuilding the label, and Slaughterhouse was the first thing that I really got excited about right after I got sobered up and kind of got back to the world again and realized I had to okay, let me go brush up on my hip hop. Let me go get what's out and let me, grab all these albums and shit. And one of the first albums I grabbed was Paper Trail, and then I got the Slaughterhouse album, and was just excited about it because I knew about the idea of them all being together, but to hear them all on one album, and just I'm like I said, I'm a hip hop, head. I guess nerd, whatever.
You listen to rap. You listen to raps first.
I didn't want to say nerd, man, but you know what? Fuck
nerd
it. Hip hop
nerd.
There it is.
Hip hop nerd.
A phrase I invented, by the way. Phrase I coined.
Hip hop nerd to the core, and it
when
was
you
just
listen
fun
to,
for me to hear syllables and just flying at you, and that kind of shit.
Like,
so,
do you listen to raps first? You think does the beat matter? If you first listen, like, what's your first listen?
My first listen is the lyrics. Always,
Definitely the lyrics.
Yeah, both of you guys.
Like,
you knew that.
I'm just saying because like I don't know. I guess as a DJ, it takes me like the third listen to really get into the lyrics. I listen to like the beat first because I have trouble listening to a song that I don't like the beat.
You one of those A&R DJs, man?
No, I'm not.
No, but you're
Definitely not.
But you are a party DJ. You do think? Everyone just said Paul Rosenberg just chimed in and said yes, you are.
No, shut the fuck up, yo. No, I'm not. I just like beats.
I mean, a beat definitely matters, but You know,
But is there something that you love somebody's rhymes on it, but the beat is you don't really like the beat?
that happens a lot. You know, I mean, it's
See, I'll skip it.
Done.
You probably know the words to songs that you might not like the beat, but you know the
You
words.
listen to Ether, and the beat to Ether sucks. No disrespect. No disrespect to Ron Browse, but I do not. Do you like the Ether beat?
I like it. What's
I
wrong
like
with
it.
it?
Do you like it as much as Takeover? This is a
It's
constant.
a rap beat. It's a rap beat.
I
That's
know.
why.
But just like that little tinny drum, I just never felt Ether was strong enough. And I know everyone in New York.
I don't know. I think both beats are crazy. So
Do you have a record that you could say you prefer though? Just picking on those two.
Why are you?
I'm not answering this question.
I was gonna
man.
say we don't want to be.
Right. Start beef. It's over, guys.
Hey man,
I mean, listen. Jay-Z weighed in. He clearly thought Takeover was better. He was honest about it.
Yes, his record. Why are you asking him about their record?
Why not? Yo,
So you signed Slaughterhouse, and like I don't know. This is a stupid question, but what do you see them doing? Like you want them to stick to what they do, like ill rap, but maybe signing to you will make it bigger. Like, how do you look at it? Like
that's a good question.
business side, you know what I'm saying? Because you are Shady Records.
Right.
We know why you signed them, skill wise.
I mean, I don't think we've like even drawn out a plan like as far as like what each record should be or anything like that. I want them to just get in there. My vision is just let them get in there and do what they do because they're all solo artists. They've
Right.
come together to make this super group, so it's like they already know what they're doing. So I just kind of want to see what everybody what they end up coming up with, and then towards maybe the later middle to the end.
Yeah.
Kind of want to just put my 2 cents in and see what what if you guys did a song like this? Or what
Do you
if,
listen?
just
Do you
try to-
get like early copies and stuff? Like once they record something, do they send it to you and you listen to it?
Yeah, or sometimes they'll come here and play it for me or whatever.
how does Eminem listen to music when we found out pretty clearly that you do not ever look at a computer? And Royce, I know that's how you listen to music probably all day. Is computer and iPod.
It's not that I never look at a computer, but I prefer to not have one just because I might look at shit that I don't really
want to see.
not only not want to see, but just don't really want to spend my time.
Yeah, it's
doing
hard to
that.
get off of
I'd
it
rather,
once you're on
I'd rather just spend my time creating or whatever. But if there's anything I need to see, somebody can show me. Look something up or whatever. So
But there's so much porn you're missing.
He sees the way
that's true, but
And you rap about jerking off so much, you're missing out on all the porn, Em. Like this is the game has changed since you were a kid, man.
right.
I think he's just trying to avoid Twitter. He sees how addicted to Twitter I am, and how I'm on my phone all the time, and he don't want to be an android in the studio like that.
Royce,
like
you borderline have a Twitter problem. You
Oh,
stay on. Paul Rosenberg says you tweet like a teenage girl.
Yo, I don't have a borderline problem. It's an official,
It's an official problem.
Yeah, no, and he tweets crazy pictures sometimes. You had you beefed with what's his face. Oh, but no, that was a beef that was well deserved. I supported you.
Who would I tweet with? I love tweeting.
I think you tweet with the same cats who came at Young Marshall.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I don't let people say bad shit about him.
Yeah, I know you don't. And you may have tweeted a picture of you holding a bazooka. Or it was like a tank. You may have been holding a tank in the picture. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
It doesn't exist.
That doesn't exist.
That is weird. That's weird that I made that up, and you knew that I made that up. I find that odd. Yo, I was watching cable recently, and Funny People came on. Saw M with the random ass cameo, like super, like just pops up in the movie. And then I heard earlier today that you have another movie that. This is the question I was getting fed that I thought was a good pop culture question. Okay, so I'll make it more generic. So I was watching Funny People the other day.
Hey, what did you think of it? Was it funny?
It was pretty wacky how you're just in there acting. But is acting something you act? You mean I gotta be honest, you're pretty good. At least at playing Marshall Mathers or playing whatchamacallit, Rabbit. Like you're a pretty solid actor. Are you actually interested in acting?
It's something that I don't know if it's not my main love. You know what I'm saying? Like what I'm the most passionate about, I think, more than anything, is the music first, and then it's like it's one of those things with acting that if something comes along that the right script or whatever comes along, I feel like I keep giving the standard answer, but it's true. If the right script comes along and it's crazy enough or good enough to make me want to set the mic down for a minute and go and do it, then I will, you know.
Favorite Tribe Called Quest album?
What the fuck, man?
Why not? Just go there.
Low End Theory.
Low End Theory.
Low End Theory?
Over Midnight Marauders.
I like Midnight Marauders a little better.
I'm Midnight Marauders myself. Cypher,
Come
you're Low
on,
End Theory.
M. Come on, M.
I'm indifferent.
Come on, M.
He Cyph's always down. Cyph's down on this.
Yo,
one.
they're right there, but Low End Theory just.
I think they both. I would classify both of those as classic.
No, they're both
Yeah.
classics. But I like Midnight a little more. He likes. I think is it the base of Low End Theory. There's something about Low End Theory that you lean towards, but I always lean Midnight Marauders.
It's a toss up. It's really I don't know.
Can we please get Royce?
Yes.
Can we please get Royce M DJ Premier?
I mean, that's always a possibility. Yeah, I guess you can. You want to cut that right while they in Detroit?
Yeah, let's get right.
We
on it.
can't do that.
Let's call Preem up right now and tell him.
What if we play a DJ Premier instrumental and it's basically the same as having Royce M and DJ Premier?
That's you could do that. You definitely could do that.
But would you rap on it if I played it?
Right now,
Why not?
I got shit to do, man.
Oh, but you haven't done a Pete Rock, Primo. Are there any other producers like the legends out there that you really crave to do a record with?
Well, that would be crazy. Either Pete Rock or Premier or both.
Well, why haven't you done it?
Yeah, like why you can do? I mean, would you think it's just?
Yeah, come on, man. Why haven't you done it?
Come on.
No, I'm saying, is there a
What
reason?
are you
Like,
doing? Nah, it just
Yo,
hasn't happened yet. I mean,
but
But you're Eminem. You can just call any of the greats of all time. Be like, yo, I need. Like, you could be like, yo, Rakim, Kane, I want to get. Like, you could do anything in theory, right? Like, or is it just not?
I can fly in theory, but
But like, so there's no reason it hasn't happened. It's just a matter of timing. And I mean, we know Primo. Primo is Primo. We know what that working with Primo entails. 7 months of your life. But you know what I'm saying? Like, is there any reason in particular, or is it something that we actually think would happen in time?
I certainly wouldn't rule it out because it's just one of those things. I think a lot of it has to do with timing. Like the Bad Meets Evil project, like this whole thing came about. We didn't know we were doing it. Like we didn't know. Like there was no plan in place. And I just took. Royce took Bad took beat CDs, and I took beat CDs. You know, so that some of them were sent from people at the label. You know, and just kind of went through them and just started making records, and we were knocking them out pretty quick. So it was just we were having fun with it. So it wasn't like it wasn't like man, we should get a.
That's why it's so good though. That's why listening to it is like you can hear the fun, man. It's not like a generic, hey, let's make an album because we can make money from it. Like you can hear y'all going.
Well, that's what I think is a bonus, especially from my nerdy music standpoint. Is it's one of those moments in an artist's career when it's like they just decide to do something cool. Like there's not really, this didn't have to be happening.
I think hip hop needs more of that.
Yes.
You know, everybody's focused on the numbers, and fans got too much information now.
I hate when fans talk sound scan.
Yeah,
numbers.
we need to take the power back. That's what we need to do, and keep the creative integrity there, and that's what we try to do. Just go in there.
Well, go get the album.
What's it called, guys? Hell the Sequel.
Yes.
I just answered my own question. Em, who's your favorite? I
think that was it.
They rapped again?
Yeah, that's
Em,
why I
are you
said-
pushing a button?
Yeah, it's back here.
All right, last one. Thank you, Paul. Who? All the dudes out of everything that's happening hip hop. Hip hop has gotten significantly different since you first came out. Like, in a million ways.
That's good that the last question you're asking it sounds like a layered deep one.
No, it's not. Well, who are you checking for? I know it's actually the easiest, corniest question, but who do you really like? I know you like Wayne. I know you think Wayne's dope, but is there anyone else out there that we may not think of that you are really checking for?
I think you like T.I. too, right? Don't you like T.I.?
Yeah, T.I.'s dope. But I think I've been said that many times publicly just about those guys. I'm trying to think, man, off the cuff.
I like J. Cole.
Yeah, I was just gonna say J. Cole. That would be the first one that I could think of.
Really?
I like J. Cole. I like Big Crit.
Crit's pretty dope.
Yellow Wolf. Got to throw him in there.
Yeah, definitely.
Any listening to Odd Future? Have you checked out Odd Future?
I haven't checked it out fully yet. We kind of just been doing this, you know, in work mode or whatever. But as soon as I get a chance, I'm gonna check everything out that those dudes.
I like what they doing. Sorry to cut you off, Evil. I like what they doing. I like the movement that they creating. I like the fact that I hear their name so much.
Yeah.
I ain't had a chance to really go
Sit with
thoroughly.
They're saying I'm the same way.
Well, you'll hear, and you'll be curious to hear your thoughts because your influence is sort of weird. It's weird, but it's clearly in there. You know what I'm saying? I think you guys will find it interesting. Yo, thank you guys for hanging out. The album's out right now. Bad Meets Evil. This is a rare
radio voice.
Thank you. It's a rare good thing for hip hop, though, that you see a major label drop a real hip hop album, especially from one of the biggest stars in the game and someone who's as ill as 5'9" over here. So we thank you guys for bringing us out to Detroit and letting us do this.
Hey man, thank you for coming.
Thank you for introducing me to Verner's.
Did you guys call first? You know this is a no-fly zone, so.
What do you mean?
Did you call and check with anybody before you landed here?
Oh God, no.
Are we in trouble?
We're dead.
Yeah, you might be in trouble.
Before he gets you.
Yeah. Now call Joe Budden because I want to fuck a chick tonight.
You know you're sitting in my chair, right?